What's going on, people? This is your boy Say One's History. You are watching The Male's Perspective, ladies and gentlemen. Please make sure that you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. That way you can be updated for all cool new content that's coming out. Look, I haven't did one of these lives in a while. I wanted to make sure before I actually do another live, you guys, that I had everything intact. So I'm praying to God that nothing goes wrong and we can have this actually run as smooth as humanly possible. With that being said, we are going to get into the show today. And what is the show going to be about, you guys? This is actually going to be about the order of things. And what order of things am I talking about? People are asking, what the hell is he talking about tonight, you guys? Well, it's going to be the order of things when it comes to God, man, woman, and child. And look, I hear a lot of women these days, not all women, but I hear a lot of women these days actually talking about, you know, they're essentially trying to remix what it is in the order of things. And I just have to say that if you are trying to remix the Bible, then you may want to rethink or evaluate or whether or not if you're a Christian or a Catholic, because unfortunately well, not unfortunately, but you know, that's the way it was said. Again, I'll say God, man, woman, and child. And a lot of women are in their emotions, in their feelings and things like that. And I just think, it's a pride thing. And I always think back to when Jesus was actually washing the feet of the peasants, even though Jesus was a literal God, the literal Messiah, you guys. And I think that we should all get out of our emotions. And I think that we should all humble ourselves a little bit. But with that being said, we're about to get into this clip, you guys. This video that we're actually going to watch is coming from the Uplifting Network. Now, it is a panel mixed between men and women, and they are actually discussing essentially the order of things here. And I love it because it has these younger women in a freaking frenzy. And what's even more interesting about it is the Uplifting Network, they do such a good job of actually mixing men and women and, you know, younger and older, mature and things like that. So I find it really interesting just to get the perspective of a woman that's, let's say, maybe my age, maybe a little bit younger, and then a woman that's in her 60s or her 70s, and she gives her perspective on the order of things and how things are supposed to go. And just the look on some of these women's faces are interesting. But without further ado, you guys, I'm going to play this video. I'm going to give my opinion, my thoughts on this in between. So without further ado, let's go ahead and line this up and let's get it, you guys. Let's go.
You chose this. Listen, of course. Listen. I'm responsible for following. As a woman, if I'm a wife, I'm responsible for following. I'm accountable to God for following my husband. My husband is accountable to God for leading our
So why
home.
did you
And
get
if I
divorced
marry
then?
him, no. If I marry him, I got divorced because my ex-husband decided to try to run me over with a car, and I was like, oh, I can't really do
Damn.
that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Listen.
No,
They
no,
don't. By
no.
all
Actually,
means,
so
I ain't saying
actually,
nothing
so
about. I,
listen.
So I just want to say off bat, you already see like the internal catfighting in between the ladies, and the subtle jabs that the woman is actually throwing. You know, she's already saying, you know, I divorced my husband because, you know, he tried to run me over with the car. And the other woman is like, like, yeah, okay, whatever. But it's just the subtle catfighting already. But let's go.
That's the
I'm
thing.
saying
So
is,
I get where you guys are coming from. I got married very young. I have
that's
full
the
custody of
problem
all
with
our, but
being
see,
married
wait, no,
young.
listen. So listen, let me finish. I got married
Listen,
very
Linda.
young,
Listen,
and
Linda.
then I got divorced in my late 20s. And then you know what ended up happening? I know that I didn't want to repeat the life that I was born into. I actually so I aged out of foster care at the age of 17. I got emancipated and I got married because I knew that that's what you're supposed to do. So then what ended up happening? I married the wrong man because I didn't know what to look for. And then I ended up in a marriage of domestic violence and all kinds of other things. But see, here's the thing. Now, as the woman that I am now, 11 years later, it took me time to not be bitter. I had to do a lot of work. I had to relearn a lot of things. I had to become a completely different woman. But as a single mom of 5 kids, I have a 19-year-old and my youngest is 11. I can tell you, I can sit here right now and say, I'm not on government assistance. I own my vehicles. I'm in the process of putting things in place. But if when God brings me my husband, if he tells me to stop doing this, I'm going to stop doing this and I'm going to follow him because I also know that I know I'm going to be under his covering and his covenant because I've
Bam.
learned different things. I've chosen to do the work and I understand and realize that this.
Think we got a little cut off here. So I want to actually go ahead and interject while I'm actually just hooking this back up. Bear with me for 1 second, you guys. It's always something. It's always something. Struggle streaming, you guys. That's what it's called. Struggle streaming. But here's the thing that I think is interesting. Um, Following, leading, accepting the humility. She's saying that she had the time to heal, from the previous relationship she was in. And the most important thing that I think that she said in that what she sparked in her conversation and kind of like her rant is that not only did she heal, but she understood that there was a what's the word I'm looking for? Like there was an order to things, but on top of that God, what's the word I'm looking for, you guys? Jesus Christ. God forgive me. I'm not trying to anyway. Um it wasn't the order of things. It was let me go back and play it a little bit more. Let's go ahead and play it a little bit more here. So let me get this. Let's go back. I think we got it up. Yeah, we got it up. Okay. I'm gonna go back a little bit. Let's see if I can
Putting
get
things
back
in place. But
portions here.
if when God brings me my husband,
Now let's go
or
back some more.
then what ended up happening, I married the wrong man because I didn't know what to look for. And
There she goes. She said she did not know what to look for. So, what I actually suggest for women, because I don't think there's anything wrong with women marrying young. I think, when it comes like to the Middle East cultures and things like that, I actually think that they got it right. The West is really weirded out for whatever reason when it comes to women marrying older, and we see it in our culture all the time where women actually date like older men and there's no issue. But the moment that a man actually goes and starts to date a younger woman, there's a problem. Now, do I think that there are limits to this dating? Absolutely, I do. If I see a grown man like my age dating like a freaking, 10-year-old or 15-year-old or something like that, that is ridiculous. Look, there is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That is weird to me. Now, with that being said, if there is an 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 20-year-old, 21-year-old woman that is dating a man, that is in her 30s or in his 30s or something like that, that's their business. Like when I went to the Philippines, I actually seen a lot of that going on, a lot older. The only thing that I think that is a problem with this, the biggest thing, I think that there's a problem with dating younger is that back in the day or in certain cultures, and this is where it gets really serious, you guys. The men, the fathers, and the mothers were in that child's life or in that woman's life that young woman's life, actually vetting the older man for them, vetting the man to understand, because it was really the father, because the father would basically vet the man, see if he had good intentions with his daughter, see if he was going to take care of his daughter, understand that, he was just basically a good man essentially, and he was able to provide for his daughter. That was the man's role. And the man's role also was to say, look, if you F with my daughter and you treat her bad, you are going to have to deal with me. That was the law of the land. And then your houses were combined. But we don't have that anymore. So when women like date older men, it's all messed up because the foundation is not there anymore of the fathers being there to vet. Because let's keep it real, a lot of women, they have problems dating the men that are in their age range when they're younger, because the men are not established yet, ladies and gentlemen. And because the men are not established yet, they really don't want to have anything to do with them. And I understand. So I think that there is supposed to be some type of like generational gap when it comes to men and women. Do I think it's supposed to be to like such a high extent? I don't think so. But you have to remember, guys, males do not get their financial stride until right around 37, 40-ish. Okay. So if you want a man who's going to be able to protect, provide, essentially all the things that you are looking for, this is what you are essentially going to have to do. And then those younger men, like the ones who are 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, those guys and up, those guys are going to be working on getting their lives and their selves established. Okay? They look, there are going to still be women for them to talk to. Those are going to be the women who don't want to be wives. So they're going to have plenty of action to do what they want to do. Believe me, I know. They're going to have plenty of action to do what they want to do. The other thing is they need to get all of that out of their system. We do, ladies. There are some men that are young and that are mature, but they do need to get that out of their system. Now, with this being said, if there is a lady out there, a young lady, and she wants to get with a man that's her age and they're both young, I don't see anything wrong with that either. But understand what that means. If you are going to get with a man that's younger and he's going to be the same age as you, prepare to struggle, because you're both young, you're both just starting off, and you're gonna struggle. He has to build up himself. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. He has to build up himself. So if you are not ready for that, don't get into a relationship with no guy your age, because he is going to struggle. It is just the law of the land. It's just like what I was saying in one of my shorts earlier about the chess pieces, and how the woman, as a queen, she can move up and down, left and right as much as she wants to, okay? But the man can only move one step at a time. The king can only move one step at a time. And it takes him longer than the woman to get herself established, because the woman can open more doors at an earlier time frame. But with that being said, let's get it. Let's let him continue.
And I ended up in a marriage of domestic violence and all kinds of other things. But see, here's the thing. Now, as the woman that I am now, 11 years later, it took me time to not be bitter. I had to do a lot of work. I had to relearn a lot of things. I had to become a completely different woman. But as a single mom of 5 kids, I have a 19-year-old and my youngest is 11. I can tell you, I can sit here right now and say, I'm not on government assistance. I own my vehicles. I'm in the process of putting things in place. But when God brings me my husband, if he tells me to stop doing this, I'm gonna stop doing this and I'm gonna follow him, because I also know that I know I'm going to be under his covering and his covenant, because I've learned different things. I've chosen to do the work, and I understand and realize that the submission that I was in before, that was control. It's not the good thing. It was a bad thing. I get it. I get it more than what you want to, more than what you realize. I get it. But the fact of the matter is, I'm accountable to God for following the man I chose to marry. If I married him and I'm opening my legs to him and I give him a child, then I'm accountable for following him. And if
Can
I
you get
didn't
the
trust,
hell?
hold on. If I didn't trust him enough to follow him, then I should not have married him. That's why I'm focusing more on marriage. If I didn't trust him enough to follow him, then I should.
If you didn't trust him enough to follow him, you shouldn't have married him. If you didn't trust him enough to follow him, you shouldn't have opened your legs up to him. Bottom line, ladies. Bottom line. Let's keep going now.
Not have married him, because
Okay.
once I am married to him, then that is it. And
But
that's
you
Okay.
also
learned in real
But
the
here's my
time the
thing.
I.
consequences of
Hold on.
submission
But
to a
see,
poor
but
man.
well,
That's
That's
no,
our
no, that
point.
wasn't
no.
so.
She
Wait,
brought.
wait, wait,
Hold
that
on. She
wasn't
brought up a good
submission.
point,
broke
That
lady.
woman.
wasn't
What about
submission
No,
though.
her?
no. Hold on.
That
No.
wasn't
Okay.
submission.
All
That
right.
was control.
Did you hear what she said, ladies and gentlemen? She said, "Do you understand the consequences of submission to a poor man?" Now, look, in God's infinite wisdom, there are things that we just won't understand as human beings. With that being said, this is exactly why God says have faith. This is why God says trust and believe, because he knows that there are things that there are understandings that we are just not going to grasp. With that being said, I'm going to let it continue, but I just want to say one thing. Um, there is a decorum to things. There's a decorum to a relationship that you have to move in, okay? And that decorum is actually it's a standard that a man and woman should have between each other when they're actually courting or in a relationship. I understand that there are things that have to be black and white, but when you are in a relationship, there are things that, yes, a man is supposed to do for a woman, and there are things that a woman is supposed to do for a man. But in that same token, it can't be it can't be so finite. It can't be a thing to where it's like you give me this and you give me that. There has to be some kind of love. There has, like, if you ever think about when you get not an autopsy, if you um an x-ray. When you ever get an x-ray and you look at your bones, there's always separation between the two bones. Like if you look at your knee bones, if you look at your fingers, there's always separation. And that is essentially the gel, that is essentially the ligaments that keeps everything together. Okay, what I'm speaking in regards to as far as the ligaments are concerned, that is the love, that is the God that keeps us together. I understand again that there are finite, that there are statistical things that need to be done to keep a relationship going. But that gel, the things that we don't see that keep the different bones together, is what keeps us together, essentially. Let's keep going. I hope you guys got that. Let's roll.
That was not
Hold on, we
Well,
submission.
can't
when
we
a
That
man
can't hear
was
y'all
give
all
a
at
control.
the same
woman that
It's a
time.
got
We
ready to
can't hear
have
completely
y'all all
kids,
at
different
the
that
same
she
time.
situation.
cares about other men. I'm just saying this. I'm not talking about you at all, Naomi. I'm just saying what she
Oh
is
no,
saying.
all of my
So
kids are
when
the
you
same
say no,
last
not
name.
hold on. Hold on. I'm just
And they're
saying.
from
Name
my
is Laisha.
What,
ex-husband.
I just want to respond to something, because when we say you don't want to respond to a broke man, what you want a man to, I mean, you don't want to submit to a broke man. Then what you got? But you want this man to submit to you, and you already got kids by other men. So I mean, I'm just saying. I'm not talking about you. I'm just saying in general how we look at how we keep saying what you're not going to submit to a man. But I'm just saying he also got to come in the world that you have created over the years for yourself. That's one thing. Like, we keep going on everything that the man got to do. Number one, we not following any man that follow God. I mean, if you don't follow God, don't follow a guy that do not believe in God. I'm just saying, that's just
Exactly. If he's not following God, if he doesn't have some type of divinity in him, meaning he believes in the scriptures, then there's no point in even following him. That's your first red flag right there. And I always tell women all the time, and I'm going to let this play as soon as I say this. I know you guys hate when I speak a lot in regards to these clips, but I'll just say this one part. When it comes to women, I always tell women that because they ask, like, well, do I have to submit to men? Like, where does my authority come in? Should I just be like, should I not be able to say anything? No, not at all. Not at all. That's not what we're saying. Women have plenty of authority in relationships. Okay, but here's the thing. First off, when you are getting to know a man and understanding him and who he is and what he is about, women, that is the most important time for you to access your authority. Because what you are doing is of course, you like him, okay? You want to see if you like him. But the thing that women usually miss a lot is you are vetting the man to see if he is going to be a good leader for you. Because before you hand over your submission to a man and the authority to lead you, you are supposed to be vetting him to see if he even qualifies to be able to lead you. Okay. Now, again, there is a jail in this. You can't just say, I'm not going to be submissive. I'm not going to show him affection. I'm not going to listen to him in this process. Okay. There's a jail. There's a balancing act that women have to actually walk. And in your femininity, you're able to do this like no one else. But it's gotten lost over the years because of the way society has told women that they are supposed to be. Okay? But it's not supposed to be that way. I think femininity classes are needed in these day and ages. But it is what it is. Let's continue, because the older lady, I think her name is Dr. Lady O. She's about to go into it. She's about to get into it. So let's check her out.
Number one. Okay, please stop submitting to men that don't believe in God, because he's supposed to submit to God. Okay, that's for starters. You got to start there, ladies, and you do got to be careful where your body's at. But I will say all of us are upper age women. And be honest with you, I kind of, the whole submission thing to me just don't sit right with me at 53, because I'm not looking for lead me where, but I'm just saying, this is just me. But for the younger generation, I think we should set a better example for the younger generation who are coming up. And since Bo's so tired of hearing that I am a mother-in-law, and I'm going to keep bragging on that because I feel like they're your age group. These are men from your age groups. These are women from your age group.
It's not my age group.
My oldest son is 38 years old. What are you talking about? He's right behind you.
Yeah, but we gotta stop bringing up the age, because we all grown talking on this panel. We need to stop bringing up age, because we all grown.
I wanted to say that there's nothing.
Why is she getting so mad that she's saying her son is within the same age group? Her son is 38. I think she said she's 44. What is that, like a 5-6 year difference? That's not a lot of age. That's not a big age gap. But let's go.
There's still a limit, though. But hold on, age does matter. Hold on, because we're not spring chickens. And we're talking about submission, and you're 40 and leading and stuff. To me, the conversation goes a little different, because now you out here in the world. I'm just saying, life is a little different for people over a certain age. We're not 16-year-olds. And so it does go different.
Can I interrupt real quick?
That's the point that Naomi made, please.
Yes.
But
Naomi
you're not trying to seek leadership from a man at 16 years old, though, neither. So
No,
I don't
that is
understand.
the perfect time. to be seeking leadership from a man, and it should actually be your father. Your father is the one who is supposed to vet the man for you. Now, do I think 16 is a little bit too much? Yeah, I definitely think 16 is a little bit too freaking much. If there's a man, an older man in his 30s, and he's trying to talk to your daughter, at 16 or something like that, yeah. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that one right there, buddy. That might be a little bit too much for me. But like I said, the bottom line is that it is better for a woman to find her husband. She is physically able to bear and have children around that time frame. And when I say time frame, I'm speaking in reference to like 18, 21, 25, all the way up to 30 even. After 25, you get into, like, as Kevin Samuels would say, the danger zone. But right around that time, it's the perfect time for women to be able to give birth if they want to have children. It's just biological. Just the biological time frame is perfect. And I also feel like if a woman is going to get into a relationship, like I said, like I'll always say, with an older man, it is best for her father to vet this man. Not only to vet him to make sure he's a good man, but to scare the shit out of him as well too. I remember, look, I'll give you a quick story, really quick, you guys. I remember my cousins, my female cousins, when they would have a boyfriend that they were interested in, they would come over my house with my dad. And my dad would sit in his recliner chair with his shotgun, and he would have a conversation with these guys, particularly about my two female cousins I can think of. I'm not going to say their names, but he would tell them, if you do something wrong to my niece, I promise you, I'm not joking with you, you are going to have to deal with me. And he didn't really have any problems. Really didn't have any problems, So again, it just goes back to, you have to get back to the traditional ways of having that man make sure that women are making good decisions, because we know around that time frame, like, women are in love, their emotions are moving, going crazy, and they may not be necessarily picking the right guy. But let's continue.
So okay, let me make this point. Naomi said that she got married young.
I did.
You were in a relationship young. What, Katura? You were young, right?
Yeah, I
When
was
you were
married at 20. I was married at 22 to a 29-year-old. Yeah, that
okay,
was a
great.
while ago.
So
That's
here
not a
is my
big age
point
gap.
about
It's always something, you guys. Bear with me for 1 second here.